I come to you with a message, the message of individuation, or to be your own individual. And the purpose of this presentation is I wanted to share the ideas of the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung and their conception of the psyche. And this presentation is perfect for those that are feeling spiritually alienated or are a little bit lost on their path of individuation. And I hope that this is also enlightening. But first, I wanted to share a passage that I thought was striking from Jung's Red Book. It's been a pretty interesting book to me because it's also been helpful in my own process of individuation. And I think that I also resonate with how they articulate their experiences. And these are the words of Jung himself. I must say, no one and nothing can justify what I must proclaim to you. Justification is superfluous to me, since I have no choice but I must. I have learned that in addition to the spirit of this time, there is still another spirit at work, namely that which rules the depths of everything contemporary. The spirit of this time would like to hear of use and value. I also thought this way, and my humanity still thinks this way. But that other spirit forces me nevertheless to speak, beyond justification, use, and meaning. Filled with human pride and blinded by the presumptuousness of the spirit of the times, I long sought to hold the other spirit from me, but I did not consider that the spirit of the depths from time immemorial and for all the future possesses a greater power than the spirit of this time, who changes with the generations. The spirit of the depths has subjugated all pride and arrogance to the power of judgment. He took away my belief in science. He robbed me of the joy of explaining and ordering things, and he let devotion to the ideals of this time die out in me. The spirit of the depths took my understanding and all my knowledge and placed them at the service of the inexplicable and paradoxical. He robbed me of my speech and my writing for everything that was not in his service, namely the melting together of sense and nonsense, which produces the supreme meaning. And the reason why I chose this quote is because it's a dense quote that highlights a lot of the ideas that Jung propounds. And I also like their articulation that have neglecting your psychic health or being too one-sided psychically can have a devastating effect. The effect of losing your desire for reason, for ordering things, for rationality, for science, and it's something that I've experienced before as well. And it's reassuring that there is also somebody who is able to articulate it as well. And for if anybody else is feeling the same way, then you're not alone. And yeah, but part of the quote being dense is that it is also a little bit more harder to understand. So I think that's why I could benefit from close reading. So first I'd like to start with the spirits that they talk about. What are the spirits? The two spirits that Jung outlines are the forces that are basically interacting with our psyche. And the two spirits can be thought of as a good mental model is the yin and yang symbol, where there are two counterbalancing forces that try to maintain an equilibrium or a balance. And the spirit that he outlined in the beginning is the spirit of the times, and it also goes by the name of the zeitgeist, or the ideals of the time. And that's more associated with outward striving, outward achievement, meaning getting the correct job, getting a bigger house, and material striving like that. And oftentimes it's associated with haste as well, haste in learning, haste in understanding, and they counterbalance it with the idea of the spirit of the depths, which is referring to the more archetypal force that's representative of the unconscious human psyche. And just to zoom in a little bit closer, the world of the spirit of the times is characterized by the idea of logic, reason, or the known. Basically, all the fascination or all the amazing things that science has given us in regards to understanding and being able to predict the natural world. But also, what comes to science is a loss of mystery. But I think it's kind of a fallacy to think that there is no more mysteries, because there's a lot of things that are still unknown. And part of along with mysteries is that there's also paradoxes in life. For those that are familiar with mathematics, Gödel's incompleteness theorem uh, basically arrives at the conclusion that for any formal system or for any formal logical system, there are bound to be um, propositions that can't be proven. So hence arises a paradox. And those are just a couple of examples. And recursive or strange loops are also pretty common as well in life. Like if you look into consciousness, personality, and so on. So there are still a lot of things that are unknown for humans. And it's the spirit of the depths is under the umbrella of all things unknown or mysterious to humans. And part of Jung's psychology is his main idea of individuation, which is basically given away by the word itself. It's to be your own individual, and Jung believes that the goal of our psyche is to strive towards individuation, and it's essentially a lifelong process of combining your conscious and unconsciousness, or making your ego, your conscious everyday I, realize that it's just one subset of a bigger structure, which is the self, encompassing the conscious and unconscious aspects of yourself as a human. And I think I want to emphasize the part about a lifelong process, because there are oftentimes tendencies to want to sell individuation in a immediate manner, and I think it's good to beware of those as well. And in regards to getting to know the spirit of the depths and gaining a better understanding of it, the spirit of the depths or the depths doesn't communicate through regular logocentric language, which is kind of like how I'm communicating at the moment. The spirit of the depths communicates mainly through images more, or oftentimes symbols that you notice, or synchronicities that seem to recur for you, and that your consciousness tends to have a attraction to. Or also symbolism in dreams, what patterns rises in your dreams, what kind of figures show up in your dreams, and also feelings and vague intuitions that you have. So those are parts of like the little whispers that the spirit of the depths gives us as well as humans. And it is an arduous journey that everyone has to take, but everyone has their own personal guide, or as Jung would term it, their own God image, which is essentially a term to refer to the forces that are beyond your conscious understanding. And your guide oftentimes is going to be your personal archetype. So whatever archetype is present in your field. In regards to me personally, I would say that's the being a teacher archetype, or the great teacher archetype. And it's I've been having to balance having knowledge and sharing knowledge, and if I even have knowledge or not. So I think this presentation is also an exercise in that. And I also want to emphasize that there's going to be similar beats to the path of individuation or becoming your own individual, but that everybody takes their own unique journey. And the next quote emphasizes this point really well also. And this one is by Jung again. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Each of us carries his own life form, an indeterminable form which cannot be superseded by any other. And then Jung's project can essentially be characterized as alchemy for the soul. And for those that aren't familiar, alchemy is the study of, or before, the ancient study of trying to turn lead into gold. But contemporary understanding of it is that it's more of a internal process, in that you try to turn your baser human emotions like grief, sorrow, sadness into something valuable or something for yourself, like your own inner gold. And for Jung, that would be the idea of trying to combine your conscious and unconscious self to produce the supreme meaning. And Jung really emphasizes straddling the line between sense and nonsense, because that is where the new meaning arises. And it's very reminiscent of the idea of embracing paradoxes to give rise to something new in a system. And so, just to summarize again, through the combination of consciousness and unconsciousness, not going too much on one side but having a balance, then arises the supreme meaning, which I understand to be more of an orientation towards life. And it's not a set thing, but more, or I understand it as more tailored to each individual as well. So their own orientation in life. Whatever idea or conception gives each individual their own like assuredness or power. And from conflict or the tension of the opposites comes out wholeness, which is a very Hegelian idea. And essentially, this is more of a rough outline of what alchemy, or Jung's notion of alchemy, is trying to do, in that you break down yourself, you extricate the essence or the core, and then you rise above and you create something that's more of a developed form compared to the previous iterations. And yeah, if anything, if none of those sunk in, the main takeaways, I would say, is to embrace the paradoxes in your life, because for any system that is defined or coherent, new activity is oftentimes created through paradoxes or contradictions. And also, as a reminder, to not neglect the depths, because it is a ever-present force that is still powerful, and that it allows you to have a better clarity for human self. And also, one of the dangers that Jung tells people about in modern society is the danger of psychic one-sidedness, or focusing too much on outward striving and neglecting our inner selves. And yeah, I wanted to finish off with one more quote, and this one is by Jung again. "I don't aim to be a good person, but rather a whole human." And with that idea, it's good to embrace yourself, and to basically, the message that Jung preaches is of self-acceptance. And yeah, thank you for your time. That is all.